welcome to Access Television News. I am Emmanuela Akwaya. First, the headlines. Peter Obi relies support ahead of 2027. Customs launches new digital platform. African women remember those who died during mining across Africa. Now the news in detail. Former Anambra State Governor and 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has called on Nigerians to set aside their differences and unite ahead of the 2027 general election to rescue the country from what he described as years of poor governance. Speaking in Uyo at the Obedience Conference and official declaration for the African Democratic Congress, Obi said the proposed Operation Rescue Nigeria was not about personal ambition, but about securing a better future for coming generations. He expressed concern over Nigeria's rising debt profile, alleging that the current administration had borrowed heavily, with repayment obligations stretching into the coming decades. According to him, the 2027 election presents an opportunity to correct the nation's trajectory and strengthen democratic processes. He stressed that election results must be transmitted electronically in real time, warning that any attempt to manipulate the process would have consequences. Obi said he remained determined to contest the next presidential election, adding that democracy must be allowed to function freely without political interference. It was Valentine's Day, a day for sharing love, especially to the less privileged. That was exactly what Green Heroes Foundation did, as it hosted widows of fallen military heroes, war veterans, and those who sustained injuries in active service to the nation, including their children. This show of support by the foundation caught the applause of the chairman of the event, Air Vice Marshal Audu Bida, retired, who called for harmonization of all veteran support groups to collapse into one strong body to be more effective and coordinated. He said once this is done, governments may have no option than to partner with them to provide more assistance to the families of the fallen heroes. He also assured the retired soldiers of continued care by the foundation.
These gestures are rooted in the recognition of sacrifice, service, and selflessness for the greater good of society. It is also universally acknowledged that the military remains the backbone of any nation. Consequently, the contributions of soldiers to nation building are enormous and deserving of continuous recognition. It is a known fact that Nigeria's fallen heroes are rightly remembered each year. However, little attention is given to those who bear the silent burden of the service. The families left behind during long deployments, the widows of those who never returned, and the children of our fallen heroes who grow up without their fathers.
Also, ABM Mohammed retired assures of continuity as more groups to be invited in succeeding editions of the program. He also acknowledged and commended the foundation for remembering those who have contributed in keeping Nigeria safe.
My advice to all the organizations and institutions that cater for veterans and fallen heroes is to partner with people like the Green Heroes Foundation to support the activities, to support officer both materially and otherwise, to ensure that he brings succor to the families of our departed colleagues, to the families of injured colleagues, and those who have served their country with courage and integrity.
Founder of the Green Heroes Foundation, Air Commodore Aboyomi Balogun, retired, said it was the second edition of the Love Fest and called for spirited Nigerians and organizations to support in the care of families of the fallen heroes and the veteran organization.
Heroes Foundation have chosen to dedicate today to demonstrate our love to military widows, the children of fallen heroes, the wounded soldiers, and the old soldiers who government hand may not touch. So what we are doing here is just to complement the effort of government at ensuring that these people are not forgotten, and we keep their hope alive because they have sacrificed for this nation. Yeah, this is the second edition, and we thank God this edition is even bigger than the last one, and we are hoping that we'll keep doing it every year and it will keep growing. The Green Heroes.
Food items, clothing, and other gift items were distributed to attendees at the event. There was entertainment from the veterans and barrack children who saw their parents practice their trade. Swell Karagwe, a socio-cultural group based in Abuja, last weekend celebrated its 30th anniversary and annual general meeting with special awards to some of its past chairmen. The ceremony, attended by movers and shakers of Tiv community in the FCT, was chaired by Godwin Tiochimi, who called on members to always remember their home state and endeavor to make it free from banditry and other negative vices. President of the club, Jacob Kajo, expressed satisfaction with the activities of the club and the call for greater synergy among members.
The club was founded in 1996 by a group of friends. Initially, they termed it a committee of friends, but later it metamorphosed into Swell Karagwe Club. And the reason we call it Swell Karagwe Club is that Swell Karagwe means the origin of where the Tiv people settled at the pond in their journey to the Benue Valley. And it also connects truth. Whenever in the Tiv cultural setting, when you are accused of something that you know you are innocent, it is only the swim that will give your innocence. So Swell Karagwe Club is built on truth and honesty. For now, it's a TV socio-cultural organization. Yes, I'm the 8th president. There have been other 7 successive presidents before me. So I'm the 8th, and I'm only building on what the others did. By the time my tenure is over, another person will take over from me and continue. It is a going concern. The club was founded in 1996.
Dr. Cletus Akwaya, publisher of Daily Asset newspaper and founder of Asset Television, was guest speaker at the ceremony. He spoke on insecurity, the economy, and the role of the elite in addressing the challenges. He went down to the section of insurgency and ruled out numbers of those that have been affected and called for concerted peace action among the Tiv nation.
Various response strategies to deal with this issue. The nearly 2 decades of continued attacks have had devastating consequences on the people. By 2020, the Farmers Center Conference had claimed at least 7,000 lives according to private research sources. You may recall that in June 2025, the attack on Yellow community alone claimed 200 lives in one day. The persistent attacks, as I said earlier, have led to the displacement of people from their ancestral homesteads. By 2022, the number of displaced persons had risen to about 1.6 million. However, as a result of various efforts by the administrations in the state and supported by the federal government and international development partners, the number of IDPs is said to have reduced to about 600,000, as some of the displaced persons have begun a gradual return to their ancestral homesteads. Socio-economic activities have also partially returned in some of the communities across the affected local government areas.
He also highlighted that there must be a renewed cooperation among the Tiv nationals with change of heart and unity. The Nigerian Customs Service has launched a new digital one-stop shop platform aimed at eliminating bureaucratic bottlenecks at Nigeria's ports and significantly reducing cargo clearance time to 48 hours. Speaking at a ceremony held in Lagos on Friday, the Controller General of Customs Adewale Adeniyi described the initiative as a major structural reform designed to modernize border operations and strengthen Nigeria's trade competitiveness. The customs boss noted that the platform aligns with Nigeria's broader business reforms under the administration of President Bola Tinubu, as well as global standards under the World Trade Organization's Trade Facilitation Agreement, which estimates that efficient border reforms can cut trade costs in developing economies by over 40%. He also announced that the service is advancing towards a fully paperless customs environment, with the first phase of digital clearance and documentation processes scheduled for rollout by the end of the second quarter of 2026. The Nigerian Customs Service has reinforced investor confidence and strengthened trade ties between Nigeria and the United States following the high-level stakeholder engagement with the American Business Council in Lagos. The engagement brought together senior customs officers, including the Controller General of Customs Adewale Adeniyi, executives of American companies, and key industry stakeholders, to deliberate on trade facilitation, dispute resolution, regulatory reforms, and policy strategies aimed at improving Nigeria's investment climate. Speaking at the forum, the CGC described stakeholder engagement as a critical pillar of modern customs administration, noting that sustained dialogue has played a key role in resolving long-standing operational challenges between the service and the private sector. He cited the recent resolution of a 7-year classification dispute involving the council member as a clear example of the progress achieved through consistent engagement. Asa TV will be back after the short break. Stay tuned.
Mom, 20,000 naira for that video game I told you about.
20,000?
Yeah.
Did that just give you money?
Yeah, but I need more for this new release.
My hands are busy. Go ahead, send it yourself. 20,000, okay?
Facial verification. What the?
Forgot to mention, your dad taught me how to set it up in order to avoid sending large sum of money accidentally.
Come on.
You think you can assault me the way you studied with your dad? You are lucky I'm always sending it. This boy.
With Opay's large transaction shield, your face is the only access. Opay, beyond banking.
Welcome back from the break. Women in Mining Africa mark silence 15 of Bilalikota, an annual continental day of remembrance dedicated to women who have lost their lives in mining accidents across Africa, with particular focus on artisanal and small-scale mining.
The observance commemorates the tragic deaths of more than 48 artisanal miners, most especially women miners, who lost their lives in a mine's collapse in Bilalikoto, Mali on 15 February 2025, while working to support their families. Their deaths reflect a broader and recurring pattern of preventable mining tragedies affecting women across multiple African countries. Similar incidents have been recorded across the continent. In Abuasi, Ghana, dozens of artisanal miners were killed in mine collapses linked to unsafe underground workings. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, repeated collapses in artisanal cupboards and copper sites in Katanga have claimed many lives, including women working informally. In Zimbabwe, mines collapses in Rwanda and Moshonaland West have resulted in multiple fatalities among informal miners. In Nigeria, collapses in states such as Zamfara, Niger, and Benue has exposed critical gaps in mine safety oversight. In Kenya, recent gold mine collapses in Siaya County have killed women miners, underscoring the regional nature of the crisis. The Silent 15 of Bilalikoto is not only memorial, it is a call for urgent coordination action to address systematic failures in mining safety, formalization and accountability across Africa. Women in artisanal mining continue to operate in hazardous conditions, often outside legal frameworks, without adequate training, protective equipment, emergency response systems, or social protection. Women in Mining Africa emphasizes that these deaths are not isolated accidents, but symptoms of deeper structural challenges: weak enforcement of safety regulations, limited investment in formalization of artisanal mining, lack of gender-responsive mining policies, and mineral supply chains that disconnect buyers from conditions at mining sites. The organization calls on African Union institutions, national and local governments, mining companies, mineral buyers, development partners, and civil societies to prioritize safety as core pillar of mining governance. This includes formalizing artisanal mining, enforcing safety standards, ensuring compensation for families of deceased miners in line with the international best practices, strengthening traceable and accountability, and integrating women meaningfully into decision-making process. The Silent 15 of Bilalikoto stands as a continental reminder that remembrance must match with reforms, and that the future of African mining sector must be built on safety, dignity, and justice for those who work within it. Manya OCB, Asset TV News.
Hundreds of thousands of people took part in demonstrations around the world against the Iranian government on Saturday, following calls from the exiled son of the late Shah for a global day of action. Addressing an estimated 250,000 people in Munich, Reza Pahlavi, who has called for the overthrow of Iran's Islamic regime, denounced a crackdown on recent protests. Munich, Los Angeles, and Toronto saw the largest crowds, with smaller protests in cities including Tel Aviv, Lisbon, Sydney, and London. Activists say more than 6,000 people were killed after joining nationwide protests in Iran against the rising cost of living and the government. Thousands more deaths are being investigated. Pahlavi's daughter, Noor Pahlavi, addressed a crowd in Los Angeles. The BBC's US partner CBS News reported her as saying Iranians had never been this close to freeing up themselves from this Islamic regime. She called on US President Donald Trump to end ongoing nuclear talks with Iran's leadership, describing it as negotiation with murderers. Super Falcons captain Rasheedat Ajibade has set sights on winning a title after guiding Paris Saint-Germain women into the final of the Coupe with an emphatic win over Paris FC women on Saturday. Ajibade was among the goal scorers as PSG sealed a comfortable 3-0 victory in the semi-final. Ron Lecter, who has been in fine form this season, opened the scoring in the 47th minute before Melvio Kajinga doubled the lead just before the hour mark. Ajibade completed the job with her first goal since October, meeting a cutback inside the box to send the Parisians on their way to the final. The win confirmed PSG's dominance over their city rivals for the second time in a week, having beaten them by the same scoreline in their previous meeting. And that's the news at this hour. Special thanks to the production crew. Do follow us on all our social media handles. For more news and programs, I'm Emanuela Akwaya.